I've always enjoyed hiking alone, just me, nature, and silence. This was supposed to be another trip deep into the Bieszczady Mountains, to escape the city noise and breathe fresh air. The trail I chose was rarely traveled, which made it even better for me. Everything was going as planned. The path was well marked and the weather was perfect for a hike. In my backpack, I had food, water, and a compass. Standard gear. After a few hours of walking, I noticed the path starting to change. Instead of well-trodden earth, strange reddish-brown stains began to appear underfoot. At first, I thought it was mud, but the further I went, the more these patches appeared. What was unsettling was that I didn't see any other footprints, as if no one had ever walked this way before. At some point, I noticed something even more disturbing: a wooden sign stuck in the ground, covered in strange symbols. They weren't letters or numbers I recognized. They looked more like ancient runes. I stood before the sign, trying to figure out what it meant, when suddenly I felt a cold gust of wind, even though the day had been calm until then. The trees around me began to rustle, and I felt something was wrong. My heart started to beat faster, but I decided to keep going. Something pushed me forward, though I couldn't explain what. Each step seemed heavier than the last. After a few more minutes of walking, I reached a spot that felt unnaturally quiet. No birds, no insects, just dead silence. That's when I saw it. A strange figure standing in the middle of the path, with her back to me. She stood completely still, dressed in an old tattered gown. Her long, tangled hair looked like it hadn't been brushed in years. A cold shiver ran down my spine. "Hey!" I called out, trying to get her attention. She didn't react. I approached cautiously, but with each step, something inside me screamed to turn back. When I was within arm's reach, time seemed to slow down. The figure began to move. Slowly, very slowly, she turned her head toward me. Her face was inhuman. Her skin was unnaturally pale, and her eyes, empty, lifeless. When our eyes met, I heard a faint whisper, as if coming from the depths of the forest. "Stay." I don't remember what happened next. I woke up on the path, several kilometers further down, with no memory of how I got there. My watch showed that several hours had passed, though it felt like just a moment. When I looked back, there was no sign of the strange figure. I quickly started walking toward the trail's exit, my heart pounding in my chest. When I reached the spot where I had started the hike, I met a group of tourists. I asked if they knew anything about the old wooden sign or the strange figure. They looked at me like I was crazy. One of them, an older man, said something that chilled me to the bone. "This trail? No one's walked here for years. People disappear, and those who come back are never the same." I didn't know what to think. Was what I saw real? Or was my mind playing tricks on me? But one thing I know for sure: I will never hike there alone again. That forest hides something no one should ever see, something that should never be uncovered.